Mr. Chairman, distinguished delegate, thank you for inviting me to speak at this very important interactive dialogue of the Human Rights Council on the ongoing tragedy in Sudan, and I do so with a heavy heart. As you know, the aftermath of popular protests which led to the removal of President Bashir from power had provided opportunities for Sudanese people and brought hope and possibilities for a better future. Regrettably, fighting broke out in Khartoum on 15 April 2023 in the middle of Ramadan, and since the humanitarian and human rights situation in Sudan remains the world's worst. What is ongoing in Sudan is an indictment on our collective humanity, especially to our common commitment of never again. Extreme violence against civilians by both sides is widespread throughout the country. The war has been characterized by targeting of civilians, including executions, abduction, torture, sexual violence, slavery and sexual slavery, looting of private property, indiscriminate bombardment of civilians. Sexual assault has reached such a proportion that there have been reports of women committing mass suicide as the only way to avoid rape. The ethnic mobilization and racism is also growing at an alarming rate. A matter of particular concern is the increasingly ethnic dimension of the violence, pitting Arabs against other communities, in particular the Fur, Zagawa, and Masalit in Darfur. While this nightmare has been unfolding in Sudan, the international response has been inadequate. I stand ready to work closely with UN fact-finding mission and the AU investigation into human rights abuses, which would allow us to identify perpetrators, give a voice to the victims, and identify ways to mitigate suffering. We cannot afford to wait any longer. Mr. Chairman, despite the setbacks, all is not lost. Allow me to propose the following specific action that your council can take. 1. Continue to call for unconditional and credible ceasefire between the warring parties. Your council should stand up and support credible efforts being pursued to bring peace to Sudan by both the UN and those of regional organizations such as the AU and IGAD. This council should also lend its voice to intra-Sudanese peace efforts. 2. Actively engage and advocate for unhindered humanitarian access, funding, and delivery of essential needs such as food, shelter, and medical care for IDPs and refugees. 3. Continued advocacy for respect of human rights, and I call upon this council to continue its full support to the independent fact-finding mission in Sudan. It is critical that ongoing violations are investigated and documented. It is only through accountability for past crimes that Sudan can credibly forge a peaceful and inclusive future for its citizens. 4. Continued advocacy for a stable and inclusive political environment in Sudan is essential for long-term peace. Support for democratic governance and electoral processes must be prioritized to empower the Sudanese people to decide their future. This council should lend its voice to this cause. To conclude, by addressing the root causes of the conflict and prioritizing humanitarian and political solutions to this conflict, there is potential to foster a more peaceful and prosperous future for all Sudanese citizens. It is therefore urgent to make use of those with leverage against the most egregious perpetrators of human rights and violations. We cannot waver in this. The situation in Sudan demands our collective urgent action to contribute to a lasting solution to this senseless conflict in Sudan. I thank you.